You can't go meet a serial killer and be like, so why do you do what you do and how do you do it?
Seriously?
It's very difficult to take on a serial killer role because you can't go do research in the way that you usually would. You can't go meet a serial killer and be like, so why do you do what you do and how do you do it? It was a question of reading a lot of books about psychopathy and about serial killers and getting a sense from, I think, all of those kind of investigative journalistic pieces, what it is that these people are after, what are they, and you know, bizarrely, serial killers seem to want to talk about what they do a lot. From my perspective, to be able to play this character well, I wanted to kind of focus on kind of plain psychopathy in that concept of someone who has no empathy and who is very goal-oriented and someone who has a ton of secrets and is leading a double life and just doesn't care that anybody else is affected by his double life. My character, I had to make that darkness intact, that serial killer mentality underneath, and then I had to kind of layer on this other surface veneer character that he plays very well, which is like basically your next door neighbor who seems like a really nice guy who's good with his kids and his wife and, you know, has a good job and is an upstanding member of the community, and play that really, really well, maybe too well at times. So it's almost a little stilted, that character.
You know, there's one scene in the movie, I won't tell you which, because then you'll start watching the movie differently. But we shot it 3 different times in 3 different periods, so it was months apart in the scenes, but you would never know that it was done months apart. But there's probably 5 months apart, all the different shots that are shot in this one scene, which was really interesting because we kept going back and like changing one line and changing one thing to get it just right. Yes, I won't tell you which one.
Yeah, many. I would say, you know, for the concert, especially like the aesthetic of the concert and kind of choreography, we took a lot of inspiration from, you know, big artists that you see. Adele was one of them, kind of how she does her ballads and, you know, commands a big stage with very, you know, intimate vocals, I think was one. Rosalia was another, and her choreography and her fun and kind of also beautiful vocals there. And then Rihanna was another one, you know, costumes and choreography and stage presence. And then Taylor Swift was another one we talked about a lot in terms of the culture that she's created and kind of her relationship with the audience is this very, very special thing. And this, like, you know, this symbol of what art means to us and how it can affect generations and especially young minds. Yeah.
Am I being monitored, or because Cooper would be interesting to be stuck with for 1 hour. Yeah. I'd like to get to know him for an hour if he couldn't kill me. No, I wouldn't be able to change him. He's gonna be who he is. But like, just to kind of get a sense of like what he's about, I would like to kind of know from his perspective. But for like someone I'm stuck with for a long time, I don't know. I think I would like to, you know, I'd like to get to know Zeke from The Faculty, or maybe even Frank from The Bear this year. He seems like a really nice guy. Yeah.
There were many, to be honest. There were many great moments, but there's a scene, I can't say too much, but there's a scene at the end of the movie that takes place in a space between 2 characters. It's a big scene, and we shot it over a week. It's a lot of the schedule of the movie was just in this one place at the climax of the movie. I treated it almost like its own play between these 2 people, and everything I shot very meticulously and getting the performances and just moving through it. And in the movie, it's like 12 minutes long, this moment. And for me, that's the part that I really kind of aimed the whole movie at.
Raven was one, you know, I picked that, you know, from me and my dad kind of made that name together. Really? Yeah, he gave a list of names and a lot of them were, you know, other more conceptual things. And I really like the idea of Raven. It's sort of a symbol in our family, and I really like this idea of this beautiful creature that is dark and can look scary, but is also beautiful and powerful and can fly and all of these things. I think there's a lot of interesting imagery there, and then also just Raven, the dark hair, I think kind of fit.
Knight's a really generous guy, and he's a very calm character on set. He likes to order coffees for the crew, but he drinks like the sweetest, most ridiculous coffee. You'll ask it. Are you going to speak to him today?
Yeah.
Ask him. Oh, you already spoke. Oh, so you can't ask him about his coffee order. So it's like a double sweet, double, you know, caramel, you know, macchiato with nothing except sweetness and ice in it. You know, it's more like it's exactly right. Like he's nothing like the characters that he portrays, that he makes in the film. And that's what I love about working with him. It's a family atmosphere, and he's such an easygoing guy. And then he writes these really dark things to play with, and so we had a really fun time making this film, in spite of the subject matter. And I think it shows in the film.
Let's start with the Lady Raven. The movement of the colors in her concert were talked about. What does it mean to her as an artist? What is she trying to say? And the red is, you know, dealing with pain and anger and something that hurt her. And so her kind of going through the fire, which is what we use that area of the movie, the fire of the concert, as she's dealing with those emotions and then mastering them to come out on the other side, which she, you know, which is white, and she has all this kind of power at the end of it, so she wears a lot of white. If it was like a graphic novel, The Butcher versus Lady Raven, on the Butcher side, he drinks it, he loves it, he lives in that. So he walks down the hallways, they're red. He's in the bathroom, when he looks at the victim, it's all red, you know? He lives in that world, and kind of, he's totally comfortable with never leaving that color.